ESPN Plus, I'm Alex Wiederspiel along with Tony Honorado. We move on to the next one.
So here's 165 with David Carr and Peyton Hall. I'm looking forward to this match. I think it's a good match for Hall in the sense of testing himself to see where he's come up the ladder in some ways. David Carr is very, very good. They showed a little shot, I think, a little earlier. Nate is not going to sit there and try to be the color analyst while his son's wrestling. That's dang near impossible. One time I got put in that position. I was not related to my son, but my brother was wrestling in the finals of the EWL finals at Pitt, and they were doing the match there on television. I was doing the color analyst, and Davey was wrestling Scott Hovind. And man, that is so hard to sit over here and do this without, and you're trying to be impartial, but that's your brother, so that's kind of hard to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. This is our marquee matchup, Peyton Hall and David Carr. Hall 11th in his weight class, Carr number 2, and of course, not only a 3-time All-American and Big 12 champion, but an NCAA champion and 3rd place last year.
No, David Carr is about as good as they come. I mean, like I said, this weight class is a heck of a good weight class in the country as well. I mean, when you think about it, this is kind of your average size person, really. You know what I'm saying? Most people are about this height, and in the off season they don't weigh this. They're going to weigh about 175, 180 pounds, right? That's kind of your average person. So a lot of people in these weight classes around this are really, really good. So you got a lot more people to come from. Wow, nice double leg by David Carr. Catches Peyton Hall a little bit flat-footed, traps both of his knees, drives right through him, does a nice job.
So Carr used to wrestle at 157, now wrestles at 165. Caught a funny comment from Kevin Dresser, who basically said, as a point there for Hall, basically said it's a much better weight for Carr because he gets to enjoy his sweets this way.
Well, again, the cutting weight thing, and as any athlete, as any person, oh wow, what a nice job in. I don't know how Peyton Hall does that.
No call, yeah. There's
the 2 points. See what I mean by David Carr being really good technically? It was a little wrist drag. It was a little bit of a drag. Got the single, got to this corner. Does a nice job of getting to the corner that way. And Peyton Hall, who usually does a good job of sort of getting his knee down and trying to turn his hip away, not able to do that, as David Carr does a nice job of technically keeping on the corner, keeping the pressure forward, and getting another 2-point takedown.
Carr on a 21-match winning streak, and what a career he has had. 81-2 lifetime, and he's had 14 pins throughout his career. He's a senior, and he's had 4 already this season. Peyton Hall, to his credit, 4-2 against ranked opponents this season. And for Carr, he loves facing ranked opponents. It's been something he's been looking forward to this season. He's been, let's just say, good.
Well, he has aspirations. A lot of these guys, they have aspirations not only to be national champions, but to move on and a lot of times be in international competition and things along those lines. So the constant working to improve and the opportunities you get sometimes to be on some international teams, the training partners you get doing that, the coaching you get doing that, the people that you wrestle who have high skill from other countries, all those things are really helpful in your own growth and development over time.
Looks like Carr is going to take a 3-point lead into the second period, and like you said, his technical ability.
Well, and one of the things I said related to Peyton Hall sometimes is he has a tendency sometimes to get a little high. His legs get a little straight, and David Carr's taken advantage of that on a couple of different occasions.
Carr starts in bottom position here, and an easy escape. Just 8 seconds in. Junior world champion, by the way, had 12 wins over top 20 foes last year.
Well, that little dancing around thing he did was a little bit like his dad there. I'm not even sure his dad liked that a whole lot, but that's kind of that way.
And there you see Nate Carr watching closely.
So he's starting to take some space. Peyton Hall knows he's got to push it a little bit. David Carr trying to get him to step into him, which he does. See how he does 2 things at the same time. He traps the knee and pulls the ankle simultaneously. Peyton Hall, though, doing a nice job with the whizzer, trying to get his leg back out. You see Carr really cranking on the ankle and on the knee there. Peyton Hall puts himself in that position all the time. I'd have ripped out every ligament I have 6 times if that was the case.
On the note of Carr, fair to say he thinks that wrestling pretty fast, I'm assuming, to be at this level.
That's the whole thing, right? I mean, you're anticipating more. I mean, when people are really good, they anticipate things better, they anticipate the openings better, and they take advantage of smaller openings. So, and he's really good in those areas. This is a good match for Peyton Hall to at least have on film for a lot of different reasons. Not to say he's out of the match by any stretch. It's only 5-1. But it gives you an opportunity to look at what things do I really have to pay attention to and get good at if this is where I want to be.
We've got 25 seconds left, only a single point scored in this period. It was Carr's escape 8 seconds in, but otherwise since then it's been more or less a stalemate, though as you said, Carr has shown just tremendous ability, just hasn't scored any points here.
Peyton Hall really hasn't done anything to threaten David Carr at all, one way or the other. He's not gotten close enough. He's not gotten an opportunity to really put any pressure on him to get any kind of shot off or to do anything offensive. David Carr's played with that space pretty well and has not let Peyton Hall really grab him. One of the problems that David Carr had last year, especially toward the end of the year, which actually probably led to his loss a little bit in the national tournament, was, you know, people don't want to wrestle him a whole lot. They're trying to keep the match close, so they try to stay away. They try to get him to step in. They try to do all that kind of stuff, and I think those are one of the things that he's tried to get better at in dealing with those guys and playing with that space better, doing a better job with that space right as you're about to have contact.
And you know, Hall is no joke either, a top 12 wrestler as he picks up the escape there. He's 13-8 over the last 2 seasons against top 25 ranked opponents, and he was an All-American last season.
No, Peyton Hall's really good, and David Carr's beating him pretty soundly at the moment, you know, because, again, Hall hasn't threatened him a whole lot. Carr on another shot really got the leg turned out to the side. Man, the way his hip and his knee turn. Oh, my goodness.
I'm bit of a stalemate. What are you seeing there, Tony?
I'm seeing myself on a stretcher going to the hospital. That's what I'm seeing. Holy cow. That's, you know, and that's one of the things Peyton Hall does pretty well in not giving that takedown up that way. But, you know, you're 15, 20 seconds.
Still a little over 60 seconds left in this third period. This is one of the critical matchups of this duel.
Well, and David Carr just in a front headlock, trying to pull Peyton Hall forward and down and see if he can get to a corner. Now he's going to try to lock it up. It's almost like that body lock, the way they do from a freestyle standpoint, and go with that turn.
If you're West Virginia, you're almost hoping if you can, I mean, you still in this match, Hall is, but if you can limit this to a decision, I guess you'd say not bad if you're the Mountaineers, but.
Well, I don't think, you know, obviously that's not it's an area obviously Iowa State would love to have some bonus points in, but I don't think it's one where they expect bonus points in it. You know, this ends up being a regular decision, which it looks like it is. And again, David Carr has not felt threatened at all. Peyton Hall hasn't really done anything that's been able to get close to a leg, close to a takedown. David Carr has been the one who's been aggressive pretty much every time. And when he really goes in and takes a shot like he did there for another, you know, he's going to win 8-2 here, which is going to be just a regular decision, right? And it's going to tie the team score up, though, 10-10.
So 8-2, and that winds up being purely a decision, but Carr wins. And as you said, I mean, he just really never was threatened. We'll step aside here. West Virginia and Iowa State are even at 10. More Big 12 wrestling on the Big 12 Now on ESPN Plus next.